The text message on your phone right now could be the difference between freedom and a federal prison sentence. You might be sitting in your living room feeling completely safe, believing that the firearm in your safe is legal because you bought it legally. You might think that because you passed a background check 5 years ago, you are protected. You are wrong. As of March 2026, the legal landscape of gun ownership in this country has shifted beneath your feet. A recent Supreme Court ruling has not just changed the interpretation of the law, it has activated dormant statutes that were previously ignored by local prosecutors. This means that guns you have owned for years, guns that sit in your nightstand or your truck, may now be classified as illegal contraband in your specific state. The danger is not theoretical. It is immediate. It is personal. And most terrifying of all, you probably do not even know which of your firearms are now targeted. This is not a drill. This is not political rhetoric. This is a factual reality that thousands of gun owners are waking up to today. The Supreme Court's March 2026 decision clarified the boundaries of state power versus federal rights in a way that has created a chaotic patchwork of legality. What was permissible in your state last month may now carry mandatory minimum sentences. The confusion is intentional, but the consequences are accidental only for those who are unprepared. For the rest, the consequences are catastrophic. Imagine a routine traffic stop. An officer asks if you have any weapons in the vehicle. You say yes because you are honest. You hand over your permit. You feel confident. But then the officer runs the serial number. He pauses. He calls for backup. Suddenly, you are not a citizen exercising your rights. You are a suspect in possession of an illegal device. Your life changes in seconds. Your family loses their provider. Your future is erased. All because you did not know that the definition of your firearm had changed while you were sleeping. If you care about protecting your family and your freedom from these sudden legal shifts, now is the time to subscribe. We are dedicated to cutting through the noise and giving you the clear, actionable information you need to stay safe and lawful. This channel is your shield against confusion, and we need you with us for the long haul. Do not let algorithm changes hide this vital information from you. Secure your access to the truth by hitting that subscribe button today. To understand why this is happening, you must first understand the mechanism of the trap. The March 2026 ruling did not ban specific guns nationwide. Instead, it empowered states to enforce stricter definitions of what constitutes a regulated firearm under existing federal frameworks. This sounds technical, but the result is simple. States can now classify certain features, modifications, or even storage methods as criminal offenses without needing new legislation. They are using old laws in new ways. This is where people go wrong. They assume that if a gun was legal when they bought it, it stays legal. That assumption is dead. The law is dynamic. It breathes. It changes based on court interpretations. And right now, the interpretation is tightening around 8 specific categories of firearms and accessories that are incredibly common among average owners. The first category involves what is commonly known as pistol braces. For years, millions of Americans attached braces to their AR-15 style pistols to stabilize them for shooting. The government said it was fine, then they said it wasn't. Then courts blocked them. Now, after the March 2026 ruling, several states have moved to classify any pistol with a brace attached as an unregistered short-barreled rifle. If you live in one of these states and you have that brace on your gun, you are in possession of a Title II weapon without the proper tax stamp and registration. This is a felony. It does not matter if you bought it from a reputable dealer. It does not matter if you had no intent to break the law. Possession is the crime. The dangerous part is that many owners still have these braces attached because they believe the federal injunction protects them. It does not protect you from state charges. If your state has chosen to enforce this definition, you are vulnerable. Check your state's Attorney General website immediately. Do not wait. The clock is ticking. The second category is perhaps the most shocking because it affects older inherited firearms. We are talking about handguns with magazine capacities exceeding 10 rounds. In the wake of the recent ruling, a coalition of states has reinterpreted assault weapon bans to include the magazine capacity as a defining feature of the handgun itself. This means that if you own a standard service pistol, like a Glock 17 or a Sig Sauer P320, and it comes with a 17-round magazine, the gun itself may now be considered an illegal assault weapon in your jurisdiction. This is not about the magazine being illegal. This is about the gun being illegal because it is capable of accepting the magazine. This distinction is subtle but deadly. Most people do not realize that the law can target the firearm based on its potential capacity rather than its current configuration. If you have these magazines inserted in your home defense weapon, you may be committing a crime every single day. The mistake almost everyone makes is assuming that grandfather clauses protect them. In many of these new interpretations, grandfather clauses only apply if the firearm was registered before a specific date, and many owners failed to register because they were told they did not need to. By the time people understand this, it is often too late. Here is what most people miss. The enforcement is not always about raiding homes, it is about leverage. Prosecutors use these technical violations to pressure defendants in unrelated cases. If you are involved in a minor dispute, a civil lawsuit, or even a noisy neighbor complaint, the discovery of a technically illegal firearm can escalate the situation into a criminal investigation. This is the hidden risk. You think you are safe because you are a law-abiding citizen, but the law no longer cares about your intent. It cares about compliance with a complex, shifting web of regulations. This is why you must stay informed. If you find this analysis helpful and want to ensure you never miss a critical update, please like this video. It helps us reach more people who are unaware of these dangers. Your engagement saves others from making fatal mistakes. The third category involves binary triggers. These devices allow a semi-automatic firearm to fire one round on the pull and one round on the release of the trigger. For years, they existed in a gray area. The March 2026 ruling has allowed states to categorize any device that increases the rate of fire beyond standard semi-automatic operation as a machine gun conversion device. This is a federal-level classification that states are now adopting aggressively. If you have a binary trigger installed on your rifle, you are not just owning an accessory, you are possessing an unregistered machine gun. The penalties for this are severe. We are talking about decades in federal prison, not just state jail. The scary part is that these triggers are easy to install and easy to forget. You might have swapped out your trigger group years ago for better performance. You might not even think about it anymore, but the law sees it as a fundamental change to the weapon's legal status. Remove them. Verify your state's stance. Do not gamble with your liberty. The fourth category is ghost guns, but not in the way you think. You might assume this only applies to people building guns from scratch at home. However, the new legal interpretations extend to any firearm without a serial number, including those purchased as kits or partially completed frames. Even if you bought a frame from a licensed dealer 5 years ago before the serialization requirements were strictly enforced, some states are now requiring retroactive serialization. If you have not serialized your homemade or kit-built firearm, it is now contraband. The window to comply is closing. Some states have offered amnesty periods, but those periods are ending. If you are holding onto an unfinished frame or a completed gun without a serial number, you are sitting on a liability. The Supreme Court ruling affirmed that states have the police power to regulate these items for public safety, overriding previous arguments about federal preemption. This means your state can make it a crime to possess these items regardless of federal silence. The fifth category is suppressors, also known as silencers. While legal federally with a tax stamp, several states have used the recent ruling to challenge the validity of out-of-state tax stamps or to impose additional state-level registration requirements. If you bought a suppressor in a neighboring state and brought it home, you might be in violation of your home state's new transport laws. The ruling has emboldened states to treat interstate transport of NFA items as a distinct offense if proper state-level paperwork is not filed. This is a trap for travelers. You might take your rifle to a range in another state, legally, but bringing it back or even having it in your car while passing through a restrictive state can lead to arrest. The part almost nobody is prepared for is that ignorance of state lines is not a defense. You are responsible for knowing the laws of every jurisdiction you enter. This requires constant vigilance. Let's pause for a moment to consider the weight of this responsibility. It is heavy, it is unfair, but it is real. If you believe that every American deserves to know their rights and responsibilities clearly, share this video with a friend who owns a firearm. Do not let them walk into a trap because they were uninformed. Sharing this content is an act of protection. It is a way to look out for your community. We are in this together, and clarity is our best defense against overreach and confusion. The sixth category involves high-capacity magazines detached from the firearm. You might think that if the gun is legal, the magazines are fine. But in several states, the mere possession of magazines holding more than 10 or 15 rounds is now a standalone crime, regardless of whether they are loaded or attached. The March 2026 ruling upheld the constitutionality of these bans, rejecting arguments that magazines are protected arms. This means that a box of spare magazines in your safe could be evidence of a felony. This is where the emotional toll hits hard. You collected these magazines for competition, for training, for defense. Now they are liabilities. You must inventory them. You must know the limit in your state. If you are over the limit, you must dispose of them legally or move them to a jurisdiction where they are permitted. Hoarding them is not worth the risk. The seventh category is less obvious but equally dangerous. It involves the storage of firearms in vehicles. The ruling has given states the green light to define vehicles as public spaces, where stricter storage laws apply. In some states, if your firearm is not locked in a separate container from the ammunition, and it is in your car, it is considered illegally carried. This applies even if you have a concealed carry permit. The permit allows you to carry, but it does not exempt you from storage statutes. This is a technicality that catches thousands of people every year. You stop for gas, you leave your gun in the glove box, you forget to lock the ammo box. You are now breaking the law. The police do not need probable cause to search if you consent or if they see something in plain view. Once they see the improper storage, the arrest follows. This is not about bad guys. This is about good people making small mistakes with huge consequences. The eighth and final category is the most controversial. It involves the definition of an assault weapon based on cosmetic features. The March 2026 ruling allowed states to ban firearms based on the presence of pistol grips, barrel shrouds, or folding stocks, even if the firearm is semi-automatic and functionally identical to hunting rifles. This means that your modern sporting rifle, which you use for target shooting, may now be banned simply because it looks a certain way. If you live in a state that has enacted this post-ruling, you must register the firearm, modify it to remove the banned features, or surrender it. Failure to do so results in confiscation and criminal charges. This is the ultimate example of form over function. The law is targeting aesthetics, not danger. But you cannot fight the law with logic. You must fight it with compliance. Now, you might be feeling overwhelmed. You might be asking, what do I do? How do I protect myself? The first step is calm assessment. Panic leads to mistakes. Do not rush to destroy property. Do not rush to hide items in unsafe places. Take a deep breath. Inventory your firearms. Write down every serial number, every accessory, every magazine. Compare this list against the current laws in your state. Use official state government websites, not forums. Forums are filled with rumors. Government sites have the actual text of the law. If the law is unclear, consult a qualified attorney who specializes in firearm law in your state. Do not rely on general advice. Your situation is unique. Next, understand the concept of constructive possession. This is a legal term that means you can be charged with possessing an illegal item even if it is not on your person. If it is in your house, your car, or your storage unit, you possess it. This means that cleaning out your garage is not enough if you just move the illegal items to the basement. You must remove them from your control entirely if they are illegal. This might mean selling them to a licensed dealer in a legal state, transferring them to a trusted family member in a legal state, or surrendering them to law enforcement if amnesty is available. Each option has risks and benefits. Evaluate them carefully. What happens next is worse if you ignore this. The federal government is not the only threat. Private civil lawsuits are on the rise. Neighbors, estranged family members, or disgruntled acquaintances can report you for possessing illegal firearms. In the current climate, these reports are taken seriously. An investigation can ruin your reputation, cost you your job, and drain your savings, even if you are eventually cleared. The process is the punishment. Avoiding the investigation is the goal. Compliance is the shield. This is where it gets serious. The psychological burden of unknowingly breaking the law is heavy. It creates anxiety. It makes you hesitant. It erodes your confidence. By taking action now, you reclaim your peace of mind. You take control. You become proactive instead of reactive. This is not just about avoiding prison. It is about living freely. It is about knowing that your home is a sanctuary, not a crime scene waiting to happen. Consider the story of John, a hypothetical but realistic example. John lived in a state that recently tightened its laws. He had an AR-15 with a brace and a binary trigger. He thought he was fine because he followed federal rules. He did not check his state's new regulations. One day, he was pulled over for a broken taillight. The officer smelled marijuana, which was legal in that state, but the officer searched the car anyway. He found the rifle in the trunk. The officer saw the brace and the trigger. John was arrested. He spent 3 days in jail. He lost his job. His legal fees exceeded $20,000. He eventually pleaded down to a misdemeanor, but the damage was done. His record was stained. His family suffered, all because he did not spend 30 minutes checking the law. John's story is not unique. It is happening across the country. Do not be John. The emotional core of this issue is responsibility. We choose to own firearms. With that choice comes the duty to understand the rules. The rules have changed. The March 2026 Supreme Court ruling was the catalyst. The states are the enforcers. You are the one who must adapt. This is not a plea for disarmament. It is a plea for awareness. It is a call to be smarter than the system that seeks to trap you. Knowledge is your armor. Ignorance is your enemy. As we near the end of this discussion, remember that the landscape will continue to shift. Lawsuits will be filed. New rulings will emerge. Politicians will propose new bills. You must stay engaged. You must stay educated. Do not let complacency set in. Just because you are safe today does not mean you will be safe tomorrow. Vigilance is the price of freedom. It is a high price, but it is worth paying. If you have made it this far, you are part of a minority who takes their rights and responsibilities seriously. Thank you for that. To ensure you remain ahead of the curve, subscribe to this channel. We dig deep into the legal nuances so you do not have to. We translate the legalese into plain English. We protect our community by sharing the truth. Join us. Be part of the solution. Be part of the informed. In conclusion, the 8 categories we discussed: pistol braces, high-capacity handguns, binary triggers, ghost guns, suppressors, detached magazines, vehicle storage, and cosmetic assault weapon features are the current flashpoints. They are the areas where the law is being tested and enforced. Check your firearms against these categories. If you find a match, act. Do not wait for a knock on the door. Do not wait for a change in administration. Act now. Secure your freedom. Protect your family. Preserve your future. The power is in your hands. Not just the physical power of the firearm, but the intellectual power of knowledge. Use it wisely. The stakes have never been higher. The time to act is now. Share this video with every gun owner you know. Save a friend from a mistake they cannot undo. Let us look out for each other. Let us stand firm in our rights, but smart in our actions. Stay safe, stay legal, stay free.